beautiful.
Hey everyone, it's Lisa Danforth here on Sustainable Leadership Live, and I have the brilliant Laura Sorensen who's going to be talking about how to create a powerful visual brand. Super excited for what she's going to share. I have worked with her, and I've got to say, she is crazy amazing, super talented. So Laura, I'm so excited you're here to share your brilliance with the audience.
Thank you.
But before we jump in, I want to share just a little bit about Laura, just, why we have her here and talking. So she is going to be talking about how to turn your business into a powerful visual story. So important for anyone. Laura is a design doctor and multimedia brand developer. She has a small design agency in Little Rhodey, aka Rhode Island, and she loves building design partnerships with the coolest business owners. Laura works with indie consultants and marketing teams to galvanize their brand identity and weaponize their visual marketing strategy so that they can articulate their value, stand out from their competition, and continually discover cool, intuitive ways to make more money and change more lives. Powerful stuff, right? So Laura, so excited to jump right in. Thank you. All right. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, just how you got into this, if you don't mind.
Yeah, big kind of disclaimer at the top here. I did not go to school for what I do. So if you are someone that is looking to kind of break into a certain field and you're like, oh no, it's going to cost me $100K to go to school for this or whatnot. There are so many ways to break into that. All you need to do is just learn, get on the interwebs, absorb information. Bottom line, all you need to do is bring value to the table. And if you have integrity, people will hire you. So yeah, I did not go to school for what I do. I'm constantly learning, although as you get older, you get lazier, but I'm trying to
you are not lazy. You are so incredibly creative. I mean, and it's that powerful visual brand. You don't need to have the education nowadays. I think there's so much that we can learn. So I totally agree. And I appreciate you sort of throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I think, especially as business owners, we feel like we have to have the credentials. As leaders, we have to have the credentials, but it's really the experience and the passion for showing up and serving at a higher level.
I will say, Lisa, that I think those credentials, we think that they help sell us better. And I would say in a very few instances, maybe they do, but I think that they make us feel better. They kind of give us that, that okayness that we're looking for. And we actually can give that to ourselves. We don't need to pay, $30K, $50K, $100K, whatever to get that.
I totally agree. I know for me, getting my certification, it allowed me to show up more confidently. So I really thought about it and weighed it, but I think there's too many of us that are always going for another certification, whatever, so that we can feel confident. I just want to give a shout out to Sarah Clay from the UK. Thanks for being in the house. She is a LinkedIn expert. I just met her at the conference I went to. She's a hot ticket. We'll be having her on one of these days as well.
Oh, nice.
So Sarah, thanks for joining. All right, so let's jump right in. Where do we start with this, creating this powerful visual brand?
Yeah, it can be kind of overwhelming, huh? So yeah, what I actually tell my clients is the best place to start is with your logo. And I think a lot of people are like, well, no, that's not the most important. My website is the most important, or some marketing venture that I'm doing is most important. However, your logo really is and should be the visual and kind of style and almost like thought nucleus for everything that you do. Your website, your any type of like visual, digital or print marketing, even like when your brand talks, like when you speak on LinkedIn, or not speak, but like this, but if you're doing some kind of post or whatever, what does it sound like? What's the feeling you get? And all of that should really come directly from your logo. I know that kind of sounds like a lot and really abstract, but
that's why we hire brand experts, right?
Yeah.
To put us out there.
Yeah. I like to say that you shouldn't be able to go into like a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word doc and type out your logo. That's your business visual identity is far too important for, somebody to just be able to recreate it in like 2 seconds. So it's something that you should spend time on with a quality designer. Maybe that nephew that lives in your basement is really good at it. Chances are you'll do that and then come back to like, a quality designer like in a year or two.
I've done that. I will admit, totally.
But yeah, that's the best place to start, because then when you do venture into working on your website, all the other marketing that you're doing, you have like this wonderful solid platform to move you forward. You're starting to put you're starting the puzzle at the perfect place.
You're galvanizing your brand, right?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Hey, and I apologize if I pronounce this correctly. Dea Otley gives you a shout out, Laura.
Oh, hi, Daya, and hi, Josh. Oh, these are my awesome friends. Oh my God.
And Kate Payne is here, who's also a LinkedIn expert. She's a profile expert. Donna Cravata from Cravata Media. We've got a lot of people in the house, and Melissa Hirsch. So everyone, bring your questions. Laura is brilliant. I've been working with her. She's got so much to share. So definitely jump in. All right. So let's say so how do you start to make your message that powerful visual story? Let's kind of dig in there a little bit.
Yeah. And I will say again, that is a really overwhelming question. I feel like, I want to validate the people out there. I go through this too. The best place to start, the best place to start is, how do I make people's lives better? Right. And I know that seems like kind of a pie in the sky, kind of like butterfly, dragonfly question, but really, how do you make people's lives better? And even though your company may have been founded by your grandfather, like 75 years ago, that isn't the thing that makes people's lives better. So it's not something that I think that you can answer, like it's like not like a knee-jerk answer. It's something that requires a little bit of digging. How do you solve people's problems? How do you improve their life? If you're if you're a financial planner, you actually give people calm and confidence about their future. You help them create a legacy for their children and their grandchildren, and you don't just put their money away and give them more money, in like 10 years or 20 years. What does that actually mean to the end client or customer?
Right. And what is it worth to the client?
Right.
Really, meaning like the freedom, the calm. That's one thing that I hear from a lot of my clients and the people I speak with, is they're looking for financial freedom, financial stability. So it is so important to have that brand represented in a way that shows the powerful message. I love that example.
Yeah. And I also think that as you start to get into that, it can be easy to kind of like get distracted by what I was saying, like, well, how many years I've been in the business, or what my certifications are. And that, in a way, that does matter to your prospects, but I would say only on like a secondary or even tertiary level. That they don't really care about that stuff until they understand how you're going to be able to make a difference for them. And I think that it's one of the things that makes it so hard for us as business owners is we can't really be outside of our own business, right? We can't see from outside of it. And that right there is a really good argument for working with a quality designer, working with a business coach like you, Lisa, because you need someone that can kind of see in from the outside and say, hey, here's the stuff that you're missing. Here's actually something really important that you need to actually tell a key story about. So I'll stop talking. I feel like
No, I love it. I want to say, I remember someone saying to me, you can't read the label from inside of the box. And I think that's such a great description, because you don't see it. I help clients with things that I struggle with and they struggle because we have someone else's perspective, meta view. They're seeing things through a different lens. So like you said, it is so important to work with someone who has that expertise, They do not have to have the certification or whatever. It's how are they showing up? Whoops.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to Tracy. Thanks so much for joining us. Starts with why. You're so right. It all starts with why. And I think people can really feel that, not insense it. And then when we start with that, I believe that would love you to talk a little bit more about that, but then the brand sort of spills out of us, whether it's in copy, visual, whatnot.
Yeah. So I guess maybe the next step in that that journey might be something that, Lisa, you and I have worked on together recently in a power hour.
She's very patient. I just want to tell you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I think it's important work. It's deep work, and we can't really come to these answers really fast. But I think the next step in that process is putting together your message of how you actually help change people's lives. Like once you are able to kind of articulate it, okay, how do you want to share that? How do you want to actually break it down so that people can kind of absorb it in like nice bite-sized chunks? And that's, I feel like, the best example of where that kind of comes into play is on your website. And I see so many people that have like huge paragraphs of content, or bullet lists with like 15 items, or maybe they've kind of broken up the content, but there's just like 10 or 12 blocks of stuff on their page, and
scrolling.
Yeah, and there's actually nothing wrong with scrolling. I feel like we all have a lot to say, and you can't sum up what you do in just a few words or less. So it's important to share how people love what you do, testimonials from clients or customers, the breakdown of how someone gets to work with you, like maybe what those steps are, several different problems that you actually help solve for people. Those are all key things, but they shouldn't all be in a big paragraph. I feel like there should be a really lovely, beautiful variety of how you explain those things, how you share those things. And because I think that's what people respond to. They're like, oh, there's something new, kind of don't have too much of one thing, especially on your homepage.
I know you and I dug deep on that, and it was so incredibly helpful. Kate says, I love how Laura's explaining about breaking it down. It's so important. It's really, and thank you, Kate. It's so true that I find, and I'd love to hear from you, Laura, about most people know sort of what they want, but they get to the point where they're like, I'm not quite sure what the next step is. I don't really know how to get there. And then they, diverge over here. So it's the power I find is in pushing through and sitting with what is my brand for you, what is it that I truly want? Can you talk a little bit about that and how you help people pass that I just don't know stage?
Yeah. So one of the things that I do with clients that need it is I'll work on, and this is something that can happen before we work on their logo or after we work on their logo, but usually it actually happens before we'll work on like a website project, say. And I'll ask them, it's what I actually do, what the deliverable is called is core identity workbook. So they basically, we actually create content together that they'll be able to use on their website. If I work on it for them, I'll work it into the website I designed for them. They'll be able to work it into future marketing pieces that they, put on social media or whatnot. It really like helps establish that visual voice almost, and gives them kind of like a blueprint for writing other social media posts and even blog posts. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, Lisa, but
I would love to know like a couple of questions that you ask to help people start to be thinking about it from a different perspective, from outside of the box.
Yeah. So a few of the questions that I ask inside of this core identity workbook are, really simply, what are the problems that you solve for people? Just list them all out, you know? And I'll also say, as a kind of an umbrella statement over all this, this isn't something that you're left alone with. And then it's like, okay, yeah, you do whatever you do. Me and the client, we're actually working really closely together. And I'll kind of speak up and say, hey, can you actually flesh this out? Or this answer sounds pretty cool, but it's a little too abstract for me to get. Can you unpack this a bit? So I kind of help you through that. Let's see. Another question I ask is, what's the true value of what you're giving to your client? Like, remember how we said a minute ago, what's that thing that the financial planner is actually giving?
The transformation.
Yeah. What are they actually helping their client achieve, that is a benefit to them? And then what is it about, and this is kind of a cool question. What is it about you as the business owner that enables you to really understand what your clients are going through? Like, what struggles have you gone through? So like, I can empathize, because I've been through X, Y, and Z, or I've done ABC wrong, or I've struggled with X problem. And that can really help people realize, wow, she understands. She's willing to be vulnerable, because I know I'm going to be vulnerable in, whatever we're working on together. And I just want to work with somebody that understands.
And provides that psychological safety.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about, I know for me, why I do what I do, but it's a story that I don't necessarily want to put way out there, right? If I'm on a specific stage speaking, I will tell my story because it's in a confined space. It's not necessarily on social media. How do you help people to tell the story that we don't necessarily want to, we want to be vulnerable, but we don't want to put everything out there for relationships, safety of other people, or whatever it may be? Do you help them bring that out, and how do you do that if so?
Well, I guess without getting too specific, because I don't want to call any clients out, but I would say that's really a part of the kind of like the feedback and the give and take process that I do with each of my clients that I work in this workbook with. So I continually, when I'm working with my clients on this, I'm always putting myself in the position of their ideal client, which we've taken some time to establish before they work on this. And what I'm constantly asking myself is this going to be compelling? Is this convincing? Is this resonating with me? And, or is it kind of cool, but not enough? Or is it too vague? And I continually kind of provide that feedback to my clients so that they can kind of change things up. Sometimes we'll actually work on copy together. I was an English major in college, so I won't write your copy, but I can correct your grammar, and I can tighten things up, but I'm not a copywriter. So yeah, my dad actually introduced me as a copywriter, like at a dinner the other night, and I was like, what? No, Dad. I love my dad. Shout out to my dad. But sometimes dads, they don't get it.
Definitely. No. So what I'm really hearing is that our story truly helps support and get our brand, the visual story, out into the world, really just sort of bringing it and tying it all together with a logo. This has been great. We're just about at time. I would love to ask you one question, actually two questions. Okay. One is, what has helped you live and lead sustainably in life and business? Habit, skill, mindset.
Oh, let's see. Well, I'm a woman of faith, so I'd say spending time every morning in prayer and meditation, that really helps center me like nothing else. Just kind of dedicating my day and my time, because we can get so easily sidetracked, right? We're shiny object people. And so it's something that I at least need to do every day. Dare I say, even kind of like almost every hour, not like taking lots of time, but it's kind of a mental type of thing.
I love that. For me, it's pause and being intentional, just what
Yeah.
I heard, which is really what I teach. So I love hearing what you're saying is starting your day grounded and intention, and that it supports you in being the leader that you want to be, having the relationships that you want. So thank you for sharing that. Where can people find you if they want to reach out and connect? And please let them know if you have a special offer or something that you'd like to put out there.
Yeah, so you can find me at my my website, which is atelierlks.com. It's like, yeah, what is that? Atelier is a French word that means studio, and LKS are my initials. I thought years ago of changing it because I thought nobody can pronounce this. And at the time, my mother was like, no, it's so cool. It's French. Don't change it. So I was like, okay, mom, I won't change it. So ATELIERLKS.com. But if you would love to actually get some of the coaching that Lisa and I worked through together recently, and she so graciously spoke about it in this wonderful testimonial video she gave. That's called a Power Hour, and you can find out more about that at brandpowerhour.com. And you can get a 20% off. Our first timers can get 20% off with the code First Timer 20, all one word, 2 T's, First Timer 20. 20 is 20. And I'd love to kind of like get really into like the weeds of your business and really see how I can help make a difference for you and make you shine brighter.
I highly recommend it. She helped me gain such clarity on things that I was absolutely stuck on. So thank you. What social media platform can people reach out and connect with you on? What's your favorite?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram.
What's your favorite? Which one would you prefer?
I would say I'm kind of right now. I'm spending more time on LinkedIn. Yeah, I guess that's probably the social media platform I use the most right now. But shiny object syndrome, right? We're like, oh, well, wait a minute, should I be doing this or that? And that, so I feel like that's kind of in flux. But at least right now, I would say LinkedIn.
Perfect. And if you reach out, whether you're live or watching on the replay, please post replay if you're watching on the replay. Mention when you're reaching out to Laura that you saw her on this live so she knows where you're coming from and you can start the conversation there. I will also say, check out her Instagram profile because she's got some beautiful, beautiful logos on there. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I so incredibly appreciate it. And next week, March 30th, we have the amazing and beautiful Betsy Clark joining us. So please tune in next week, next Wednesday at 10 a.m. East Coast time. And Laura, thank you again. It has been wonderful. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, Lisa. Thank you.